Trucks are the mullets of the automotive world. They're the best way to combine work and play into a single vehicle. And for those who want to combine a bed with a battery, you get one more exciting option soon with the debut of the 2024 GMC Sierra EV. Here at Edmunds, we have a big interest in electric trucks. That's why we went out and bought a Rivian R1T and a Ford F-150 Lightning to add to our long-term fleet. The introduction of the Sierra EV is yet another signal that electric trucks are here to stay, and we're only going to be seeing more and more of them into the future. The Sierra EV will ride on GM's Ultium platform. And if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same platform that you'll find underneath the Silverado EV and the Hummer EV that we got to see earlier this year. There are many similarities between the Sierra EV and the Silverado EV. They have basically the same bed and very similar range and charging specifications as well. But there are a few things that the GMC does differently on the interior, and it has some extra horsepower. Is that enough to set it apart from its corporate sibling? Let's find out. But first, if you're enjoying our videos, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. And if you want more information on the GMC Sierra EV, hit the link in the description below. And if you're looking to sell your car, head over to edmunds.com/sellmycar to get an instant cash offer. Before we jump in too deep, we do want to note that GMC is still finalizing some of the specs and details on this vehicle, so we'll try our best to let you know what's fact and where we're making a few educated guesses along the way. One thing that GMC did confirm was the Sierra EV's power figures, and they are impressive. In its max power mode, it outputs 754 horsepower and 785 pounds-feet of torque. That's 90 more horsepower than the Silverado EV can make, but falls very short of the Hummer EV's 1,000 horsepower. That's enough oomph to get the Sierra EV from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 4.5 seconds, which is, frankly, faster than any full-size truck needs to be. But we should note that it is a little bit slower than some of the other full-size trucks on the market. In Edmunds testing, our Ford Lightning Lariat did the same sprint in just 4.3 seconds, and the Rivian R1T did it in a blazing 3.3 seconds. All of these electric trucks are ridiculous. Beyond the acceleration figures, the Sierra EV's range is also impressive. GMC estimates it would be able to cover 400 miles on a single charge, and once that juice runs out, it could charge at 350 kilowatts. That means you can add about 100 miles of range in just 10 minutes, provided you can find a charger that's actually pumping out that much juice. Underneath, there's a standard air suspension that can raise or lower the vehicle by a couple inches. That hints that the Sierra EV won't have the same kind of off-road capability that you'll find in the Hummer, which can actually raise and lower itself by about 6 inches. That's potentially a feature that we could see in the Sierra EV's AT4 trim, but that won't be arriving until the 2025 model year. GMC says that towing capacity maxes out at 9,500 pounds. And there's no mention of a max towing package like you can get on the Silverado EV, which pushes that vehicle's towing capacity all the way up to 20,000 pounds. So if you're going to be pulling very large loads, that gives the Silverado EV a clear advantage. The Sierra EV is big, real big. Much like the Silverado and the Hummer, when you approach it, its height is formidable. And those side steps, very necessary. At each corner, you'll find massive 24-inch wheels, the largest that GMC has ever offered, and those are wrapped in 35-inch tires, which give the truck significant presence. It looks a bit more like a traditional truck than the Silverado and the Hummer, although its large cabin does make the bed seem a bit shorter than it actually is. Up front is a solid grille with a large GMC logo, and that's part of a power hood that opens up to reveal a frunk, much like many other EVs have. What you see here is a Denali Edition 1, and that will be the debut trim for this vehicle. Now, like other Denali vehicles, lots of black styling bits around the exterior, but in a change that I like, not a ton of chrome, so it doesn't look overly glossy. The interior has a more minimal look to it than GMC's other trucks. Many of the physical controls have been eliminated and moved into the screen. So that means that to change things like the temperature and some of the seat functions, you'll now have to go through the screen, and that's a little bit harder to do while you're driving. And this being a Denali, there's plenty of quilted leather, wood accents, and of course, the Denali name stamped into the headrest. The center screen is like the truck, gigantic. It measures 16.8 inches and is mounted vertically and takes up most of the dashboard. It's similar to the setup that you'll find in the Ford F-150 Lightning, and just like in that truck, the volume knob is actually mounted in the center of the screen. It's a bit of a weird place to put it, but it's better than not having a volume knob at all. And if that center screen isn't enough for you, there's an 11-inch driver display and a 14-inch HUD that also comes standard. Below the main screen is a wireless charging pad and a pair of cup holders, and those will actually split apart to reveal a large storage bin in the center console. GMC hasn't provided full details yet on the Sierra EV safety features, but we do know that it will come with 14 different camera views and Super Cruise hands-free driving that works even when you're towing a trailer. The Sierra EV has an almost 6-foot bed, which is a bit shorter than you'll find in most full-size trucks. But what makes this bed so cool is its flexibility. Behind the rear seats is something called a midgate, and you can actually take it out to expand the length of the bed into the cabin. Once you drop down those seats, you can then carry objects up to 9 feet long. And if you lower the tailgate, which comes with a little extension that flips up, you can carry objects that are almost 11 feet long, giving the bed more flexibility than its short length might suggest. The obvious downside to this is that you have to open up the cabin to expand the bed, and that makes this more of a temporary storage space than one you'd want to leave open on the street. These dimensions, and stop me if you've heard this before, match the Silverado EV. But that also means that the Sierra inherits one of the Silverado's problems, and that is that you can't actually reach down into the bottom of the bed from the outside unless you're the size of an NBA player. Even though I'm almost 6 feet tall, with these stubby arms, I have no chance of reaching the bottom of the bed from the outside. Thankfully, there's a step cut out in the bumper that makes it easier to climb in and out of the bed, but having to hop up every time you want to remove cargo can get annoying. GMC hasn't announced pricing yet, but these Denali Edition ones are going to be expensive, well over 6 figures if we had to guess. Now, the Silverado EV will also be expensive when it comes out. The first editions of that vehicle will also retail for over $100,000. But there's one big difference, and that's that Chevy will offer a work truck version of the Silverado that you should be able to pick up for around $40,000. GMC says that the off-road oriented AT4 and elevation trims of the Sierra will debut for the 2025 model year. But there's no way that those vehicles come even close to the Chevy's $40,000 price tag, making the GMC a much more premium and a bit more exclusive vehicle than the Silverado. While it is nice to have more electric truck options, and the Sierra EV does admittedly have a lot of intriguing features and capability, it does make me pine for something smaller. Currently, the smallest available electric truck in the US is the Rivian R1T, and no one would ever confuse that for something compact. So, while another big electric truck is cool, something smaller would be even cooler. Perhaps a Canyon EV or a Maverick? Thanks for watching, and for more information on the GMC Sierra EV or any electric truck now and future, click the link below.